bitch. I'm done. Well, my day's done. I got bucked like crazy off that jump, came down super hard on my left shoulder and dislocated it. I can tell because the arm's hanging down. It's the one I'm actually holding this camera with so I can steer the bike. So I got about 3 miles to ride. Well, I had to get about a mile off the mountain. Now I've got about a 3-mile ride to go back, turn the bike in. Then I got to find an ER to have them put it back in. Stupid. Okay, now it's time for the what, why, and how to prevent this happening to you. So the first what is I crashed my bike. The second what is the injury that I sustained. As soon as I crashed, I started patting myself down and I was shocked that I didn't have a broken collarbone. And when I reached up and felt my shoulder, as I mentioned in the last clip, there was a gap and I thought that I dislocated my shoulder. But actually what happened was I had separated my shoulder. It's otherwise known as an AC joint separation. It pushes this all down and then the clavicle, that ligament tears. And I won't know the extent of the injuries until I go in next week for an MRI. Now this is in the emergency room only about an hour after the crash. I did have to ride back to turn the bike in, and I took an Uber to the nearest emergency room. And this is a shot of what my shoulder looks like, and you'll notice the big bump on the top, and that is my collarbone sticking up and no longer attached to the shoulder blade. So we did x-rays and nothing was broken. So the collarbone's fine, my shoulder is still in the socket, nothing else was broken. At this point it looks like it's all soft tissue damage. All right, now I think it's time to talk about why this happened. There's 3 things that are basic rules, and I disregarded all 3 of these rules. 1, know your limits. 2, know your bike. And 3, know your trail. So I started this run, it was the end of the day. I knew this trail was way, way above my skill level, but I wanted to roll down the thing, get it on video so that I could study it, because I was planning to come back in 2 weeks and ride this trail, and maybe not ride this trail, but at least start to session parts of it. But when I started going down the trail, the first 3 jumps and the first 2 berms were really going nice and smooth. I came off the 3rd jump and I had a lot of speed. I really intended to roll and just roll over all these tabletops, but adrenaline started kicking in and I was having fun, and I came into the 4th jump right here way hot. I'm basically doing actual proper trail speed for somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, and I don't. So when I came into this, I was cooking way too hot. So that was my first mistake. I knew I shouldn't have done it, and I did it anyway. So listen to your voice in your head when you know that something is above your limits. Don't do it. Second one is know your bike. This is not my bike. I rented this bike in Bentonville. I called ahead. It was Fat Tire Bikes. When I first rode this thing around the parking lot and I was doing where you just kind of jump and pump on it real hard to see what it feels like, I was able to pretty much bottom the thing out in the parking lot with just the force of pushing down on it. And when I would bottom it out, it would almost bunny hop off the ground. So the suspension was way too soft and extremely linear, and the rebound was crazy fast. So I really didn't have a good feel for this. What I did was I went ahead and made some adjustments on the trail. I increased the rebound on the fork and the shock to about the middle of the range. What I should have done when I was in the parking lot, I should have gone back in and had them add some more air. For me, the suspension is not for comfort, it's for safety. And this bike was not set up for me. I didn't know how it was going to react. And when I roll into this very, very steep lip, and I can't do very lippy jumps. They scare the crap out of me. Well, I hit this thing, and you'll notice right here, that fork is fully compressed. And I guarantee you the shock is too. And when I come up to the top of this, not only am I in the wrong position, you can tell by where the camera is, I'm way far back on the bike. I should be standing up, but I'm leaning back. And what that did was as soon as it hit the lip, everything rebounded and the bike immediately starts tumbling forward and I get ejected. Here, you can see my toe is actually hanging on the bottom of the handlebar. That's how far above the bike I am. And I am merely along for the ride. And the third thing is know your trail. So the two biggest crashes I've had in my illustrious mountain biking career have both been on trails running too fast, blind. If you have to walk a trail, you walk a trail. If you need to roll it and get off and check things out, do that. If I had walked this or actually rolled it, I would not be making this video. I wouldn't have run the trail, and I would be able to ride there in about a week and a half without my arm in a sling. So know your trail. All right, so this brings us to the third part of the video. How do you prevent doing what I did? Well, the first thing is just ride within your skill level. Be honest with yourself and don't let pride, especially if you're riding with buddies who are better than you are, don't let that make you do things that you have no business doing. Progression involves pushing your comfort level, doing things that you're maybe not completely confident in, but you know they're within your skills. It doesn't mean you push your skills and abilities beyond where you can save yourself. Another thing you can do is make sure you're familiar with your bike. So you need to take some time, especially if it's a rental, it's worth taking some time to make sure that it's set up properly. What I'm going to do from now on when I go is I'm already packing about 10 pounds in my pack. My shock pump, I can't imagine it's going to make a big difference. If I'd have had that shock pump with me that day, I would have added some air to both the fork and the shock. Make sure you know how the bike is going to react. And if you're renting a bike for the day, maybe don't do the things that are within your skill set on your personal bike. The last thing is make sure you take your time on an unfamiliar trail. I mean, I fall into this all the time because when I travel, I will rent a bike. So I'm always riding these trails blind, and many of you are too. So it's difficult to dial that back and not go out and just try to blast through it. Some trails, yeah, you can just roll down. If it's a flow trail, it's not much of a consequence to going a little fast. You may wash out in a turn, it might get a little loose on you. But if you're doing technical jump lines, trails that have a lot of drops, things that have high consequence features, take your time. Make sure you know what you're doing, and don't get caught up in the adrenaline or the one last run, because that's what this was. I literally was at the top of that ramp and I said, one more, let's roll down this thing just one last time. When I got home and looked at the video of this crash, it was an eye-opener. I was extremely lucky. By the way, does anybody want to buy a slightly used Giro helmet? So at the end of the day, unless you're a pro, this is supposed to be fun. Right now, I'm not having fun, and probably won't be for at least another 2 months. If you have a friend who tends to be the guy that always crashes, do him a favor and please share this video with them. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're obviously like me and refuse to act your age, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.